this is kind of a shot from above, but you can kind of see where the ram pump starts right there, curves around through my creek. Can't run it straight because of the shape of the creek, but I tried to make it as straight as possible. And it keeps going down, going down, going down, starts to make a curve back to the left. And if you look, you might be able to see the end of it. Right through those trees. I'll try to zoom in on it. You can see where it turns, and you can kind of see it right there. Right, I probably can't point to it. Right there, there's the accumulator sticking up. Sorry for the wobbliness. So that's kind of like an overhead view of the ram pump system. So here's the intake, and as you can look at it and see, it's covered with silt, and the creek kind of flows from two different directions, from there and also from around there. And the ram pump's working great, but here's my problem: is because of all this silt that ends up down here in the bottom. So I've got it up off the bottom, but I'm still trying to figure out how to keep that silt out of there. So if you have any comments or thoughts, I don't know if I need to build a dam up here, maybe put a dam right across here and kind of dam it up a little bit or something, make it a little higher. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, comment below if you think if you have any suggestions on how I can keep that silt to a minimum. I think I might have to put a silt bucket in here somewhere down the way or something to kind of keep it from going down to the ram pump. But like I said, it's running fine, has been for several days, but I can see the silt's kind of built up on my intake. All right, so I cleaned a little bit of the silt off of there. So like I said, the whole thing, the whole header pipe or intake is about 152 feet long. It's 1-inch PVC. I'm going to walk you down it. And I apologize, this might be a little lengthy, but I'm going to kind of walk you, and you can kind of see its final resting spot as far as in the creek goes. Like I said, I wish I didn't have to make any bends. Someone had made the comments that the bends are what hurt you a little bit, but I was not able to do that. But I try to keep them as flowing and kind of straight as possible so that it doesn't cause it to slow down or impede the flow rate as much as I can. So let's see, I'm kind of walking through here through the water. Good thing I got my waterproof shoes on so we can actually step in the water. So I apologize if you hear me splash and carry on, but we'll keep walking. Like I said, it's 152 feet. I had to put some rocks in here. As you saw in one of my previous videos, I had when the creek, you can see how the creek sometimes can get up to a pretty good height there above where it's flowing. So what it did was, and I'll show you when I get down there, how that flow actually messed up the flow of my ram pump, or kind of got it out of place and messed it up. So nice, like I say, nice sweeping turns going through the creek here. This is probably more of the normal flow that it has, but you can kind of see right through here, you can kind of see where it jumped up and went over when we had the big rains here about a week or so ago. So I've made an improvement on this end of the ram pump. As you can see, originally I had it mounted on that over there, on that pallet that you see there. So what I've done is I've mounted it to a single board right there, and I put 4 pieces of rebar in there. I think I'm gonna have to cut these. So they definitely made it more stable, and you can see it's running great. And I've got got a rock on there too to kind of help settle it a little bit, along with a pretty big rock right there too. So hopefully that'll keep this thing from trying to move again. And you can see I've got a 3/4 inch poly pipe coming out of there and taking it back up the hill. And there's a lot of glare, but you can kind of see my tanks up there. And also you'll notice over there, kind of swirling, is a 1/2 inch line that comes back down. So what that is I just put that down there today. And what that does is that brings back the overflow. So whatever water I don't use, and when the tanks are full, I got to keep the ram pump going, but I got to do something with the water that's coming out. So what I did was I ran that hose back down here, and I haven't ran the water lately, but you can kind of see there a little that the water's kind of running out of that hose. So that's kind of my setup from down here. I'll show you what I've got up there at the top. Sorry for the lengthy video, but I mean, you can see, man, she's sitting there good. She's sitting vertical and she's running well. She's been doing it for about a week now and pumping. So let me take you up top and show you what the top looks like. So I wanted to show you real quick too. So I've actually got it plumbed right into the city water connection. And that's a special heated hose that I had for previous hookups where I can plug it in. But basically it comes through, and I got a nice charcoal sediment filter right there, and then switches over to 3/4 inch poly pipe. And that's about 100 feet of poly pipe that takes it from my reservoirs and brings them up here to the camper. So sorry if you hear the airplane in the background. The military like to fly over me. So here you can kind of see my setup, and I'll try to show you real quickly what I got going on here. So again, there's that poly pipe going up. So what I've got is, and again, I apologize, you've probably seen this before, but that's the 3/4 inch poly pipe coming up from the ram pump. Comes in here. I've got a one-way check valve there, so if something fails up here, the water won't flow back. And I've got them basically coming into two 55-gallon tanks, and they're feeding both at the same time. And I've got a valve here where I can set them off and or cut it off to just the one if I needed to. This is the intake for the camper. So basically it comes out of this bottom one right here and goes to that pump. And there's a drain right there if I need to drain them. And you can kind of see it's just a SureFlow pump, 110 volt pump with a strainer, and basically pumps it up. All right. So now what I've got is an overflow. So what happens is any water, once these things are full, it overflows into this IBC tote. Now this tote is not meant to be drinking water or anything like that, or used in the camper. It's made to be used if we need to wash or if we're burning some stuff and we need a water supply. So what I've done, as you can see, I've got a little place right there to connect a water hose, but what I've made is a riser right here. And that riser basically keeps the tote no more, so it doesn't overfill. So what it does is it kind of acts as a riser, and when the water level gets to this level, and same thing in the pipe, it's able to drain off and go back down the hill through that 1/2 inch poly pipe that I showed you that ends up back down in the creek. So that's kind of my setup. It's working really well. I've had a few showers. We don't drink the water. I do treat these two with chemicals, with a chemical, just to make sure it doesn't have any bacteria or anything like that. So, but anyway, we've got some construction to do as far as to neaten it up and stuff. But yeah, it's working well. So a couple of call outs. One is my co-worker Jim. He's the one that turned me on to the ram pump system and gave us an opportunity to pull water out of the creek and make our dreams come true without having to drill a well. And the second thing is, I will say, I'll call out there, and I'll try to put it in the comments below. There's a great website called Land to House. It's a YouTube channel. He sells ram pumps. He gives you a lot of advice on ram pumps. And I used his website extensively to help me to design this and to figure out how I was going to do it. So I call out to his channel as well. So this should be the final ram pump thing, unless I make some improvements. Like I said, I plan to do some other things like burying these pipes and stuff like that for the winter. But anyway, yeah, it's all set up and working properly, and we got water flowing into the camper. So I appreciate you guys coming with me on this journey, and we'll see you on the next one.